Did you know that over 1.1 billion people around the world are now over 60, yet so few of them in Hollywood ever get recognized, especially those who are openly gay? From Sir Ian McKellen's bold stand in the 80s to Ellen DeGeneres' public comeback after coming out on national TV, here are 30 old gay celebrities who are still alive and with us. 1. Sir Ian McKellen. Sir Ian McKellen is still here, still speaking up, and still making people think. He has played big roles in films and plays, but many forget he is much more than just a famous face. Everyone knows him as Gandalf or Magneto, but how many really remember when he came out as gay in 1988? That was a time when coming out was not safe or easy. Ian did it anyway. He risked everything to live honestly. But now, years later, is the world truly listening to him or just praising his acting? He helped start Stonewall, a group in the UK that fights for LGBTQ+ rights. He used his fame to talk about serious issues. Still, too many people only see him as the old man with a wizard's staff. It's like people want the character, but forget the real man behind it. They quote his lines, but skip over his legacy. His strength off-screen was just as powerful as the roles he played. He stood up when others stayed quiet. He opened doors for many. Yet sometimes, it feels like younger fans don't even know his story. 2. Sir Elton John. Elton John is a music legend with flashy glasses, bright clothes, and a long list of hit songs. But behind all that glitter is a man who had to fight for his place. He came out as bisexual in 1976, later saying he was gay. Back then, many stars stayed quiet, but he took the risk. People loved his music, but not everyone loved his truth. Did being rich and famous help people accept him more easily? That's something to think about. He didn't just sing about love, he tried to save lives. In 1992, he started the Elton John AIDS Foundation. It has raised millions to help those with HIV and AIDS. That's not just charity work, that's real action. Yet many fans know more about his wardrobe than his work. They talk about his concerts, not his causes. Elton's voice is powerful, but his message should be even louder. He changed how people see gay men in music. 3. Harvey Fierstein. Harvey Fierstein has a voice you never forget. It's rough, deep, and full of power. But it's not just his sound that matters, it's what he says with it. He wrote Torch Song Trilogy, a play about being gay and looking for love. It wasn't just a story, it was a cry for people to open their eyes. He also wrote for La Cage aux Folles, which made people laugh while still showing them the truth. He didn't hide behind his words. He used them to break walls. He won big awards, but some still don't give him the credit he deserves. Why is that? Maybe it's because he doesn't try to fit in. He's loud. He's proud. He's not easy to ignore, but he's also not always included in the big spotlight. Is that the cost of being too real? Of saying too much truth in a world that still wants to keep things quiet? Fierstein didn't just write plays. He lived them. He showed the world what it's like to be gay and human, not a joke or a sidekick. 4. Charles Bush. Charles Bush brought glitter and wit to the stage, but behind the bright costumes was a sharp mind. He made people laugh, yes, but he also made them think. His plays weren't just silly, they were smart. He dressed in drag, wrote bold stories, and made Broadway audiences cheer. But even now, many people don't know his name. They don't know his struggles or how hard he had to fight to be taken seriously. Why do some people shine so brightly yet stay in the shadows? In 2023, he shared his story in a book called Leading Lady, a memoir of a most unusual boy. It showed the world what he faced, both on stage and off. He was different, and that made things harder. He didn't follow the rules. He didn't try to act like everyone else. He used humor to tell the truth about gender, about being gay, and about not fitting in. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres used to be one of the most loved faces on TV. She made people laugh, she danced with fans, and she seemed to always be smiling. But behind the bright lights was a harder story. When she came out as gay in 1997, her show was almost canceled. People turned away. She lost roles. She faced hate. It took years to rebuild her career, and she did it. But was the world really ready to accept her, or did it just move on too quickly? Her talk show became a big hit, running for almost 20 years. But near the end, stories came out about a toxic work environment. Fans were shocked. Could someone so cheerful on screen be hiding something darker behind the scenes? The same people who once cheered her now started to question her. Did her fame make her forget what it felt like to be left out? Ellen broke ground for many, but her fall was hard and public. 6. RuPaul. RuPaul became a star by turning drag into a worldwide sensation. With RuPaul's Drag Race, he gave queens a stage and the world a new kind of show. He became the face of drag culture, bold and proud. But not everyone agrees with how he runs things. Some say his show only shows one kind of drag. Others say he leaves out people who don't fit his image. Is he opening doors, or just picking who gets to walk through them? He made drag famous, yes, but did it come at a cost? Some drag artists say RuPaul made things more about TV ratings than real stories. Others believe he helped, even if it wasn't perfect. He's won awards, he's made money. But has he used his power in the right way? That's a hard question. RuPaul helped many feel seen. 7. Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane is funny, clever, and full of energy on stage. He made people laugh in The Producers and think in Angels in America. He's won big awards and is respected in theater and movies. But he didn't come out until 1999, after years of being in the spotlight. Why did he wait so long? Maybe he was scared. Maybe he thought it would hurt his work. And maybe that fear says something sad about the world we live in. Even after he came out, he stayed mostly private. He didn't give many speeches or interviews about being gay. He let his work speak. But sometimes people forget that even strong actors carry deep fears. He played bold characters, but inside, he was still dealing with the worry of being rejected. He's still here, still acting, still making people cheer. 8. Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper is one of the most famous news anchors on television. He built a name for himself with serious news reporting, especially on CNN. But behind the camera, people started to wonder about his personal life. For many years, he kept quiet about who he really was. It wasn't until 2012 that Anderson finally said he was gay. By then, many people had already guessed. Some fans cheered for him, but others quietly asked, why did it take so long? He had a platform, a voice, and a chance to help others earlier. That delay still bothers some people. He could have spoken up in the 1990s when it was much harder to be open. Even now, his name is often used in LGBTQ+ talks, but not everyone agrees he should be the face of it. Is he really helping, or is he just doing what's safe now? The timing still makes people wonder. When someone has power and influence, their silence can say just as much as their words. 9. Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster has been in movies since she was a child. She became a huge star with roles that showed her talent, like in The Silence of the Lambs. She won awards and became a name everyone knew. But during all those years, people kept asking about her private life. Jodie stayed silent. It wasn't until 2013, while accepting a Golden Globe, that she finally said she was gay. By then, she had already spent more than 40 years in the spotlight. To some, it was brave. To others, it felt like too little, too late. She had a platform. She had the world's attention. Why not say it earlier, when younger actors needed someone strong to follow? Some fans even felt betrayed. They thought she could have changed Hollywood sooner. Jodi's speech that night was confusing to many, filled with jokes and unclear words. It left people wondering what she really meant. Now she lives her life more openly, but the delay still follows her name. Could she have helped more people by being honest earlier? When someone so powerful stays quiet, the silence can feel louder than any speech. 10. Lily Tomlin. Lily Tomlin has always been funny, smart, and bold. She made people laugh on shows like Laugh-In and in movies like 9 to 5. She has talent that goes far beyond just telling jokes. She's been with her partner Jane Wagner since 1971. That's over 50 years. But for most of that time, she never talked much about being in love with a woman. Even though it was clear to many, she didn't say it out loud until much later. Some fans say she didn't need to. Others believe she should have. She had the fame and the power to speak up, to stand for others who were afraid. But she stayed quiet for decades. When she finally got married in 2013, it felt like a whisper instead of a shout. People wondered, was she scared or just careful? Lily had the power to be a strong voice for change. She could have been one of the first big stars to say, "This is who I am." But she waited. Now she's older, still working, still funny. But some believe she missed her moment. 11. George Takei. George Takei is known for his role in Star Trek and for his strong voice on social media. He played Sulu, a character loved by many, but off-screen, he lived a very private life. He didn't come out as gay until 2005. That was long after Star Trek ended and long after many fans had guessed. Some people were surprised. Others asked why he waited so long. George has said he was scared of losing work. But by staying silent, did he help protect the same system that made him afraid? Now he speaks loudly about LGBTQ+ rights, and many look up to him. Still, there are those who say his words come a little late. He had a stage, a fan base, and trust. He could have been a leader when it was harder. Instead, he stayed hidden until it felt safe. His posts and speeches get lots of attention, but do they make up for lost time? George is now known more for activism than acting. 12. Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes has always used humor to say what others won't. Her sharp jokes and bold voice made her a star in comedy. But for years, she kept her personal life private. In 2008, she finally told the world she was a lesbian. She made the announcement during a public protest for marriage rights. It was powerful but also sudden. Some felt she waited too long. Wanda had already built a name. She had fans, fame, and a place on TV. Why didn't she speak out before? Her comedy has always talked about life's truths, but not always her own. Since coming out, she's been a strong voice for LGBTQ+ people. Still, some question if she softens the message with too many jokes. Comedy can hide pain after all. Wanda keeps talking, laughing, and fighting in her own way. But people ask, should she be louder, more serious? Did the laughs make people miss the point? Some think her fame gave her the power to do more, sooner. Now that she's open, she shines. 13. David Hyde Pierce. David Hyde Pierce is known for playing Niles Crane on Frasier, a role that earned him awards and fame. But even as he made people laugh, he kept his real life very quiet. In 2007, he finally said what many had guessed. He was gay. He later married his partner just before a vote tried to stop same-sex marriage. Some people cheered. Others wondered why he waited. David had a voice that many respected, yet he didn't use it until the world had already started changing. Could he have helped change it faster? His choice to stay private made some fans feel disappointed. He was on a hit show, loved by millions, but he stayed silent. Since then, he's been more open, and he speaks for causes he cares about. But people still look back and ask, was silence the right choice? When stars hide their truth, it can send the wrong message. It tells others to hide too. Now, David works mostly in theater and lives his truth. But some believe he could have made a bigger difference if he had come out when he had the spotlight. 14. Alan Cumming. Alan Cumming is a colorful, fearless performer who doesn't like to be placed in a box. He's been in big movies, hit shows, and theater productions around the world. He says he's bisexual and married a man in 2012, but his way of blending activism with fame often feels more like a show than a stand. Alan talks about LGBTQ+ rights and mental health, but he also enjoys being flashy and unpredictable. Some people find him inspiring. Others think he treats serious issues like part of his act. His interviews can be wild, his outfits bold, and his message often buried under glitter and flair. Is he helping or just performing? Alan clearly cares, but the way he shares his truth sometimes feels too polished, too perfect. He's loud when he wants to be, quiet when it matters most. That makes some people question his real impact. He says what needs to be said, but sometimes only after it's safe. Now he's loved by many, but still leaves others unsure. 15. Robin Roberts. Robin Roberts is one of the most well-known faces on television. She worked hard to become the strong voice behind Good Morning America. In 2013, she surprised many people by sharing that she was in a long-term relationship with Amber Lane. This wasn't something she talked about before, which made people wonder, why did she wait? Some said it was brave, while others thought it came a bit late. Before she even spoke about her personal life, she had already faced a fight most people couldn't imagine. She battled breast cancer and then a rare blood disease that nearly took her life. Through it all, she stayed calm on the outside, but no one really knows how hard those moments were. Was her silence about her personal life a way to stay in control, or was she just scared of how the world would react? Even now, she seems careful with her words. She inspires people, but her story still has gaps. 16. Jane Lynch. Jane Lynch became a star when she played the loud, tough coach on Glee. People laughed at her jokes, but they also feared her icy stare. In real life, she is softer, quieter, and much more careful. She came out early in her career, and many saw her as a bold figure in the LGBTQ+ world. But as time went on, her voice seemed to fade. Was it because the roles dried up? Or did she choose to step back and protect her private life? She married Laura Embry in 2010, but they later divorced without much talk. Since then, Jane hasn't said much about love or dating. Has she grown tired of public attention, or is she hiding pain behind that smile? She still appears on stage and screen, but people can't help wondering if the Jane we see is the real one. 17. Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn is best known for his grace and quiet charm on Project Runway. He gives advice in a calm voice, always looking sharp and polished. But behind that perfect look is a man with a heavy past. Tim came out as gay when he was young, but he didn't have it easy. He said before that he never felt safe being who he was, and that fear never fully left. That's why he lives a celibate life. No partners, no romance, just quiet and distance. Is this truly what he wants, or is he still running from something that happened long ago? He talks about self-respect, but some think it's just a cover for deep sadness. Tim doesn't complain, but he rarely smiles when talking about his personal life. Does being alone give him peace or pain? Fans love how gentle he is, but many wonder what he lost to become that way. His calm is comforting, but also haunting. 18. Lily Wachowski. Lily Wachowski is one half of the famous team that gave us The Matrix, a movie that changed how people see science fiction. But her personal life is far from what we see on screen. In 2016, she shared that she is a transgender woman, following her sister Lana, who had come out earlier. But unlike Lana, Lily didn't step out by choice. A reporter had found out and was going to reveal it first. That pushed Lily to speak up before someone else could. Is that bravery, or was she forced into the spotlight? Some say the timing was sad, not strong. Why did she wait so long? Her work is filled with big ideas, but she has always kept her real self in the shadows. She helped build one of the biggest movie series of all time, but barely shows her face. Is she afraid of being seen for who she really is? Fans respect her talent, but they want to know more about the woman behind the screen. 19. Clive Davis. Clive Davis has been a giant in the music world for decades. He helped create stars like Whitney Houston and Alicia Keys. But in 2013, at over 80 years old, he dropped a big surprise. He said he was bisexual. Many were shocked. Why now? Why wait until his name was already in the history books? He shared the news in his book, which made some think it was more about money than honesty. Did he fear losing power if he spoke out earlier? For years, he stayed quiet while shaping the careers of singers who risked everything to be themselves. Some wonder if Clive lived in two worlds, one of power and one of silence. Is his coming out too little, too late, or does it still matter? He's still a force in music, still making deals, still respected, but trust doesn't always come back easy. 20. Trixie Mattel. Trixie Mattel is not just a drag queen. She's a brand, a business, and a full-blown star. With a blonde wig, big smile, and sharp jokes, she caught everyone's attention on RuPaul's Drag Race. But the glitter hides something more. Trixie, whose real name is Brian Furcus, grew up in a rough home where love wasn't easy to find. She built a character to protect herself, but now that character sells makeup, music, and laughs. Is she still hiding behind the glitter? Some fans wonder if her real self ever comes out. She talks about pain in her songs, but then covers it up with comedy. Is it brave or just clever? She made it out of a tough childhood, but did she heal or just get better at acting strong? Her fame keeps growing, but she rarely drops the act. When the wig comes off, who is really there? People love her, but they want more than makeup. They want truth. 21. Billy Porter. Billy Porter knows how to grab attention. With bold clothes and a voice that fills the room, he never goes unnoticed. He won awards for kinky boots and pose, becoming a rare, openly gay black man in the spotlight. But his success didn't come easy. He has shared that he is living with HIV and that he faced rejection and pain for years. Yet some say his speeches and outfits feel more like performance than personal truth. Is he being honest or just giving the world a show? When someone shares so much and yet still feels out of reach, people start to wonder. Is he showing strength or hiding sadness under glitter and gold? Billy says he's breaking rules, but some think he's building new ones that demand attention without giving full honesty. His words are powerful, but are they real? His fashion is stunning, but is it armor? People cheer for him, but they also look deeper. 22. Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry is known around the world for his sharp mind and dry humor. He made people laugh on shows like Blackadder and taught them facts on QI. But behind his funny lines and smart words, there's more to his story. He came out as gay when he was young, which was brave, but he often stayed within safe limits. Fry speaks about mental health and acceptance, but always in a calm and careful way. He doesn't shout or demand change. In 2015, he married Elliot Spencer, who is much younger. The media talked more about the age gap than the meaning of their marriage. Fry has millions of fans, but some say he plays it too safe. He supports LGBTQ+ rights, but rarely takes bold steps. It feels like he's always halfway in, never fully ready to challenge what needs to be challenged. His fame gives him power, but how often does he really use it to fight? He chooses words carefully, maybe too carefully. 23. Bruce Vilanch. Bruce Vilanch made people laugh from behind the curtain. He wrote jokes for award shows and gave stars the right words to say. He has big hair, old glasses, and a voice that's hard to forget. Bruce never hid that he was gay, and he used jokes to talk about it. But the truth is, he often stayed behind the scenes. He didn't want the spotlight. He gave it to others. And maybe that's the problem. For someone so talented, why did he stay quiet when the world needed louder voices? He supported gay rights, yes, but always with a smile, never with fire. His humor is safe, easy to swallow. Over time, his boldness faded. Now, people barely mention him. He helped shape pop culture, but not many know it. He could have used his wit to challenge people, to shake things up, but he kept it light, and maybe too light. With all the shows he wrote for, how many truly pushed for change? He still performs, still speaks, but the world has moved on. 24. Lance Loud. Lance Loud didn't ask to be famous. He just lived his life, and cameras followed. When An American Family aired in the 1970s, it shocked the country. A real family with real problems, and Lance, openly gay, living as himself on TV. That had never happened before. People didn't know how to react. Some were angry, others were confused. Lance just stayed true to himself. But after the show ended, he faded. He didn't chase fame. He didn't lead protests. He wrote articles and lived quietly. When he died in 2001, many called him a hero. But did he do enough with the spotlight he had? He had a chance to speak louder, to lead, to push the fight forward. Instead, he stepped back. Maybe he was tired. Maybe the world was too cruel. But his story leaves a question hanging. What more could he have done? He was the first, but others had to finish the race. His bravery was real, but his voice could have echoed longer. 25. Kate Clinton. Kate Clinton used laughter as a tool. She stood on stage and talked about being a lesbian when hardly anyone else dared to. In the 1980s, that was bold. She made jokes about politics, homophobia, and life as a gay woman. People laughed, but they also learned. Her words made some people uncomfortable, and that was the point. But over time, her voice grew quiet. Comedy changed, the world changed, and Kate seemed to step back. She wrote books and gave talks, but not many outside the LGBTQ+ world knew her name. She could have stayed in the fight, louder, stronger. Instead, she became someone people mention only in passing. Her early work mattered, yes, but did she keep going when it got harder? She helped build the stage, but did she stay on it? There's something sad about her fading into the background. Did the world forget her, or did she let it? Her courage was real, but her silence later on is hard to ignore. 26. Armistead Maupin. Armistead Maupin wrote stories that touched hearts. His Tales of the City books showed gay life in a real warm way. He painted a picture of San Francisco that many had never seen before, one filled with love, loss, and truth. His characters felt like friends. His words gave hope. He was one of the first to make gay stories feel normal and beautiful. But now, years later, his name barely comes up in big talks about LGBTQ+ rights. His books are still out there, but they don't get the attention they once did. He came out bravely and shared his world with everyone, But did he stop too soon? As newer voices rise, Maupin seems to have stepped away. Maybe he thinks his job is done. But is it? His stories opened hearts, but he could still speak louder today. He's still alive, still smart, still full of truth. 27. Wilson Cruz. Wilson Cruz made history as a gay teen on TV, playing someone just like himself. He was real, brave, and didn't hide. That mattered. It still matters. He stood out in a world that often shuts people like him out. Cruz didn't stop after that role. He kept acting, speaking, showing up for young LGBTQ+ people. But something feels off. He should be a bigger star. His face should be everywhere. Instead, Hollywood keeps giving him small roles while others shine brighter. He works hard, but the world doesn't always give him what he's earned. He's loud when others stay quiet. He fights for those with no voice, and yet he remains in the shadows. Is it because he speaks truths people don't want to hear? His work is brave, his words are honest, but his fame doesn't match his fight. Wilson Cruz should be leading, not waiting in line. 28. Alan Ball. Alan Ball changed how people see TV. He created stories full of pain, love, and raw truth. American Beauty shocked people. 6 Feet Under made death feel real. True Blood mixed vampires with big lessons about being different. Alan Ball never made it easy. His stories had gay characters who were messy, bold, and honest. He didn't hide, but Ball himself stayed quiet. Off-screen, he didn't speak much. He let his scripts do the talking. Some say that's enough, but others wonder, shouldn't someone with his power say more? He could stand on stages, he could fight louder, but he keeps to the background. Maybe he thinks his work speaks for itself, but silence, even from smart people, can feel like giving up. He changed TV, yes, but has he changed the world beyond that? Alan Ball could lead a movement. Instead, he stays in the shadows. 29. Terrence McNally. Terrence McNally may be gone now, but his name still shows up in talks about LGBTQ+ theater. He passed away in 2020, but the spotlight never really left him. McNally wrote plays that didn't just entertain, they forced people to pay attention. His stories talked openly about gay life, not hiding anything, and that made some people uncomfortable. He didn't care. He wrote about real feelings, real pain, and real love. And the truth is that honesty is what kept his work alive long after his death. He won several Tony Awards, sure, but what sticks out more is how he dared to say things most people wouldn't. McNally didn't soften his message to please anyone. He made his characters loud, proud, and fully human. That alone changed how gay characters were seen on stage. 30. Paul Rudnick. Paul Rudnick is still here, still writing, and still making people uncomfortable, but in a way that makes them laugh. He doesn't hold back. He mixes serious truths about being gay with comedy that hits hard. Some people call him too sharp or too bold, but maybe that's what keeps him relevant. His work has appeared on stage and in film, and every time it makes people think twice. Whether it's Jeffrey, In and Out, or even Addams Family Values, there's always a message hiding just beneath the humor. Rudnick isn't afraid to call things out, and you can tell he's writing from experience. That's not something you can fake. He's been open about his life for years, even when it wasn't easy to do that in public. And while others have faded away, he keeps pushing forward with work that dares to say something real.